everyone, so this is around a 30-minute full body Pilates workout. The only thing that you will need is a cushion. So it doesn't have to be a Pilates cushion. I know you're all at home, so you can just use a soft cushion from the sofa or the bed, just in case you need it under your head or pelvis when we're going through some of the exercises. As well, if you've got a bit of a stiffness through the cervical, top of your spine, this always helps when we're going into the ab workout as well, in case you need to rest your head down at any point. We are going to start seated on the mat today, and we are going to see if we can get into a Z-sit position. So Z-sit being one leg across the front of your body, and then the other knee bends by the side with the leg by the side. If you cannot get into this position, it's too uncomfortable for you, you've got options. You can either cross your legs or bring your legs out in front of you, just having them a little bit wider than hip width apart. If you have tight hamstrings, you can bend your knees slightly. If you can get into this position and your sit bones aren't on the ground, you feel like you're a little bit lopsided, you can sit on a cushion, and it should, in theory, level out through the bottom, give you a little bit more height, a little bit more comfort through those hips. So we're going to start in this position, and I want you to bring your arms out by your side with your fingertips touching the mat, so you've got nice extension through the arms and the shoulders. And we're going to start by taking our left arm up towards our ear, and you're going to walk your right hand out, making sure you keep the sit bones close to the ground as you stretch over. So take the gaze with you, and then I want you to start to pull up nice and tall through your spine. Drop the hand down, take the other arm up, walk the other hand out, and feel that nice big stretch and opening through your hip, rib cage to shoulder, and back. Take a deep breath in at your center. Breathe out, take it over, keep that opposite thigh and hip heavy for me, feel that opening, and we're going across again. So deep breath in, breathe out, take it over, and we're going to go for that one more time. So as you come over this time, I want you to hold that rotation where you've opened up that side of your body. And we're going to start looking down towards that straight arm, swooping those fingers underneath the armpit. Again, get to that point where you feel like that sit bone's going to lift, but it's not. And then you're going to unravel the arm, look up to the ceiling, to your finger tips, and go again. So deep breath in here. Breathe out, start to roll it underneath you. Look under there and open up. And you're going to come back to your center. Now we do need to do that through the other hip, as well as get that rotation through the other side of our body. So again, it doesn't matter if legs are out in front of you, keep them like that. If you can get into a Z-sit, great. You're going to swap over legs. Yeah, so that other leg is going to come down by the side of your body with that flexion through the knees. The other one comes across the body. Again, you might be different on each side through the hip flexors. So have that cushion if you need it. So think, am I leveled out through there? Find that space where you're nice and closed up. Arms down by your side. And we're now going to take that right arm over. So right arm to ear, left hand comes out. Push back into those sit bones, take the gaze with you, deep breath in, pull up tall, stack up tall, breathe out, take it over the other side. Let's get a stretch through that opposite hip now, and again back over. Drop the hand, walk it through, push back into those sitting bones, coming back over, stack up tall. Open up that opposite hip for me, take the gaze with you. And now we're going to get into that rotation. So you're coming over, you're going to hold it when you feel like you can go as far as you can. You're going to look down at that arm, feed it through. Start to look up towards the ceiling with those fingertips, and go again. Deep breath in here, breathe out, take it through. Sit bones heavy. Feel that rotation through the rib cage, get that stretch. Open up one more time. And come back to your centre. And unravel those legs if they're not already. So we should have just felt that nice warm up through our thoracic, through the middle of our back and our shoulders, and opening up the hips as well. And now we're going to take a little lay down. So get a cushion under your head if you want to, where you feel a little bit more level through the top of your spine to the rest of your spine. And I want you to bring your legs and feet towards you. So you've got nice bent knees, and just relax your arms down by the side of your mat. I want you to find that connection through the shoulders. So the back of your shoulders should feel nice and heavy. The front of your shoulders nice and light. You should be able to feel all of the rib cage back off in the mat. And you should have a nice flat grounded pelvis area. And we're going to start by reaching up towards the ceiling with both of our arms. So our palms are facing in towards each other, and they're going to stay nice and still here. We're going to think about really grounding our feet into the floor. So as we push down into the feet, I want you to start lifting off of your pelvis for me. Keep pushing through the feet so you come all the way towards your shoulder blades. Keep the arms in the air and gradually roll back down to the floor. Nice and slowly for me. Until the pelvis hits the ground. And we're going again. So nice big deep breath in, push through the pelvis and the hips and the feet. Lift through to those shoulder blades. Take a deep breath in once you're up as high as you possibly can be off of that spine. And as you breathe out, you're going to release each vertebrae back down onto the mat underneath you. Again, until that pelvis reaches the ground. We're going to start moving our shoulders. So as you push through the feet this time and lift off of your pelvis, you're going to start taking your arms behind your head, reaching behind you, opening up the chest, holding it here, and as you roll down through the spine, arms are going to come back up towards the ceiling. Now I did say to you about having a pillow underneath you, but because we're moving a little bit from the shoulders and the top of the back, you might want to bring it away from you so you've got a little bit more room for movement. So you can try it without, just see the difference for me. So again, deep breath in, push through the feet, exhale, take the arms over, push through the feet, lift the hips as much as you can. Deep breath in once you're there, breathe out, arms come back on top, top of the spine releases, middle of the spine releases, lower, pelvis. Let's go again. I want you to think about what your rib cage is doing now. So as you push up and over, everything should feel nice and in line underneath you. Now as you roll down, think about scooping in the front of your rib cage. So you're really pushing each segment of your spine down back onto the floor. So we're getting that tummy working as well as we release down. Let's go again. Deep breath in. Push through, exhale, open up those hips on the way up. Open the chest as the palms face the ceiling on the way over. Deep breath in, one more for me on the way down. Breathe out, release slowly, scoop in the front of those rib cages, making sure the legs stay parallel to one another. And then I want you to hug your knees in towards your chest. And take a nice little roll from side to side for me. So keep the gaze on the ceiling, and I just want you to roll through your lower back area. And then come to a nice still through your body. Again, I want you to keep your cushion away from you now, because we are going to use the neck a little bit more to move. So legs are going to come up to a tabletop position from here. So you're going to send them out to your tabletop where your pelvis still remains nice and grounded. And if you look down at your kneecaps, you should see that your big toes are just hovering there. And then can you interlace your fingers together for me? Bring your hands behind your head. So your thumbs are pointing downwards to support your neck. And your elbows are not on the ground. Yeah, you should be able to just see your elbows in your side gaze so that we can feel the shoulder blades underneath us. because they're our direction of movement. So if we start to lift our head off of the ground and look through our thighs, I want you to hold that position as you look forwards. You're going to bring one hand behind your thigh, followed by the other. I want you to pull up that little bit more into your rib cage. Bring one hand back behind the head, followed by the other, and release your head all the way back down to the ground. So we're rolling up onto the shoulder blades. We're bringing the hands behind the legs. You're pulling up into the rib cage underneath you, so the top ribs are lifted as much as possible. Hands back behind the head, so keep that neck up, looking forwards, and then release down. And you should start to feel a little bit more warmth in your tummy. Now take a deep breath in at the floor. I'm going to take you through the breath. Breathe out, look forwards. Breathe in as you pull up at the back of the thighs. Hands back behind the head. Breathe out, release everything back down to the floor. Let's keep going. Breathe in, shoulder blades. Breathe out, up, breathe in, and everything back down again. So keep going with that breath. Breathe out, breathe in, pull up. So you're getting that lovely flexion through the middle to the top of your spine as you lift, strengthening up, getting that spine nice and healthy and strong with those top muscles around your back. Let's go for one more. Look through. Pull up, keep that pelvis grounded and steady with those legs. And release back down. Nice. We're going to keep our legs at tabletop here, and we're going to go straight into some rotation. So I want you to lift and look through those legs again. You're just coming onto those shoulder blades, and I want you to look down to the right side of your mat to the floor and look back through your legs, centered. You're going to look down to the left. Look back through those legs, centered. Keep going for me. So you're just turning as much as you can through the top half of your body, but keeping the lower half of your body nice and still. So think about your rib cage as a whole as you turn. So the whole of your rib cage, you're going to split it in two down the center. So the bottom half of your rib cage is staying grounded on the floor with your pelvis, and the top half is getting a nice rotation with the shoulder blades. So deep breath in at your center, breathe out to look down to the side, breathe in, bring it back through. Breathe out, other side. If you want to level up and challenge yourself a little bit more, when you look down to the right side of your mat, can you extend your left leg towards the front wall in front of you and pull it back through, look through. You're going to look down the left, extend the right leg and pull everything back to tabletop, look through. Deep breath in, breathe out, rotate and extend. If this is too much for your lower back, you can keep your legs at tabletop, or bring your feet to the ground and keep going. We're nearly there. Let's go for two more each side. 3, 2, 1. And then I want you to rest your head, hook your knees in towards your chest, and have another gentle roll from side to side for me. Nice. So now we've warmed up the neck a little bit more, we're not going to use our hands behind our head. So remember what I said earlier about you might need a cushion at some point, have it close to you in case you need it. Okay, so we're going to send our legs back to a tabletop position now. And I want you to bring your arms down onto the mat next to your body. You're going to hover your arms off the ground for me, palms down. Lift your head, followed by your neck and shoulders off the ground. So you've really flexed back up into that rib cage. And I want you to start pulsing your arms up and down gently, close by the side of your body. So have a play around with this exercise. How does your neck feel to keep it in this position? If you feel it more in your neck than your tummy, I want you to get your cushion and rest your head down and keep going for me. Again, if you want to start leveling up in this exercise, you can send your legs further out towards the ceiling so they're nice and straight as you've pulled up. And then start to lower the legs away from the body if you want a little bit more of a challenge. Make sure you still keep that connection of your pelvis as you pulse up and down. Keeping a nice open chest so you feel that stretch in your neck. So it's that as you pulse. We're nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug the knees in. Have a little roll from side to side. If you do feel a bit stiff in your neck, you can roll your head across your cushion as well, just to try and loosen up through there as much as you can. Nice. And from here, we're going to see if we can do a lovely controlled roll up to sitting. So legs are going to come back out to a tabletop one more time. Hands underneath your thighs, so you've got a good grip underneath there. Float your head up, followed by neck and shoulders. Curl back up into that tummy. Start pushing your thighs into your hands, push your feet down towards the ground. Slowly roll up to sitting, balance on that pelvis, and then you can bring your feet down to the ground. Okay, we're just going to swap round and do a couple of side-on movements now. So again, cushion if you need it. You can either have it under your hip. I know some of you are suffering from elbow and forearm at the moment as well, so you can always rest the cushion on your forearm once you come out nice and straight for me through the body. So lining up when we're on our side, make sure that your feet are stacked on top of each other, knees are stacked, hips, rib cage stacked, and then make sure your elbow is directly under your shoulder, forearm nice and close to the ground. How's your balance? If you're like this and you're not wobbling around, you can bring your hand on your hip. If you bring your hand on your hip and think, oh, I'm a little bit less stable, bring your hand back down to the floor for me. Okay, so we're going to see if we can hover that top leg for 1, for 2, for 3, for 4, and all the way back down to the floor. So we're thinking about 4 simple movements up. So you're going to go a 1, 2, 3, 4, and release back to the floor. So deep breath in. As you level up, breathe out, slowly release. And I want you to get to that point where your hip stops you. And how we get to that point is making sure, keep going, that your toes are facing the wall in front of you, yeah? So all the time you have that flexed foot, you're staying flexed through here. And you'll get to that point where the muscles and the hip won't go any further through there. So you're really practicing that flexibility through the hip joint. We're going to do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way down. Okay, we're going to go straight into some little circles today. So you're going to hover that leg for me, and you're going to start turning your leg in one direction. Again, nice and slow and controlled through there. Keep your hand on your hip if you can. If you start to feel wobbly, hand back down. Try and remember to keep your head out of the shoulder underneath you, so you've still got that good space. You're pushing through your forearm, so your shoulder's working. Doing a little bit of weight bearing here. And I want you to start turning that leg the other way. So you're going to go in the opposite direction. So think about a nice smooth turn through the thigh and the hip as you go back the other way. Use that breath. Deep breath in and out as you circulate. 3, 2, 1. Release to the ground. Come up to sitting. Have a little shrug of your shoulders if you need to. And we're going to go straight onto the other side of our body. So finding that place where you're comfortable, cushion if you need it. Stack the feet on top of each other. Knees, hips, elbow directly under the shoulder. How is your balance on the other side of your body? So again, hand down or on the hip. See how you feel when you get moving. We're doing our 4 inches, so we're going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4, and slowly back down. We're going again. Use that breath. Keep that head out of that shoulder. So we've got real good alignment, practicing that posture as we move from the hip and the thigh, using those glute muscles a little bit more. Toes facing forwards for me. Again, breathe in on the way up. Breathe out as you smoothly release. 2, 3, 4, let it go. Let's go for one more of these. And then we're going to go straight for those circles. So you're going to hover that leg. We're going to start turning in one direction. Thinking again about that nice smoothness through the thigh and the hip as you turn. Push through that forearm to keep that shoulder strong, because it's got to work a little harder. We've been here for a while now. So think about the gap from the rib cage and the mat underneath you. Good space. Keep turning. 3, 2, you're going straight back the other way. So again, use the breath to help you. Think about your balance. So that hip underneath you is like an anchor, keeping you nice and strong there. You're nearly there. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1, and release down. And then I want you to roll straight onto the front of your body. Cross over your forearms. You don't need your cushion for this one. And bring your head down into your hands. And then I just want you to have a little sway from side to side through the hips for me. So just let those hips go. Now they've had a good workout. Try and relax through your lower back as much as you can. And relax your head in your hands. Okay. And then I want you to come to a still where you're nice and relaxed and you found the connection through the front of your body. So let's start warming up through the front of our body a little bit more. Can you all open up your head from the mat, from the hands, and look forwards for me? And see how that feels. Hold it. If it feels uncomfortable through your neck or your lower back, you can take the gaze slightly more down towards your hands for less extension through the spine. And then I want you to release your head all the way back down to the floor. So it's a deep breath in at the ground. Breathe out to look forwards. Breathe in as you push the forearms into the ground a little bit more. They're not moving, you're just applying pressure to get a little bit more lift. And then release all the way to the floor. As well as when we're doing this exercise, keep going for me. I want you to really think about how your bottom feels. So you've got those glute muscles around the back of the thigh in the bottom area. They should be relaxed. We're just thinking about the top of our body. So the next time you lift your head and look forwards or down at your hands, can you keep that position? And I want you to hover a leg off the ground, pointing your toes away from you. So you're really lifting from the thigh and then releasing the thigh and the leg back down. Now keep the gaze up, yes? Either looking forwards as you go through to the other leg or down at your hands. You're keeping that position and you're just moving from the leg and the hip. So I'm going to move up a bit so you can see me as you keep going if you need to. So those legs are coming up nice and long and stretched out, and release back down and swap. Now your pelvis, front of, needs to stay relatively grounded to the floor, so you're just making the front of your hip nice and light as you lift up and down. The next time you release a leg and they're both on the mat, can you lift them both together? Point them away from you and release down. So deep breath in, exhale, let it go. You're going to lift. You're going to hold both of your legs in the air and see if you can start paddling those legs up and down for me. So again, go with that breath. It's that as you swim through. Making those hips nice and light as you go. Pelvis stays connected as you swim. Keep going with that breath. Keep that focus forwards or down at your hands. Start to feel that lower back, well, those lower back muscles working a little harder now as you go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gradually release the legs. And your head can follow to your hands. Have a little roll from side to side through the hips. If you can just hover your head off of your hands for a moment, bring those hands by the side of your chest bone. You can slowly push onto all fours for me, and we're going to stay on all fours. So hands need to be directly under your shoulders, knees need to be directly underneath your hips. Once you've got that positioning where you're looking at the front of your mat and you feel that nice widening through the shoulder blades, I want you to extend your right leg behind you and hover it off the ground and hold it there. So most importantly, before we move anything else, thinking about the front of your hips being parallel to one another. So you haven't rocked over to one side, you're keeping good alignment. Once you've got that, can you reach forwards with your left arm, with your palm facing in towards you, and you're going to really push through that right hand to keep you stable. And then slowly roll everything back in. And we're swapping sides. So left leg comes back, hover, keep those hips aligned, reach forwards with your right arm, palm facing in. Try and keep level. We don't want any dips in the lower back. So pulling the front rib cage into the back rib cage to keep it there. And roll back in. We're going again, swapping sides. When you're there, think about let's think about this. You've got a choice. You've either got a nice cup of tea balanced on your back and you've got to keep everything steady, or a nice gin and tonic. Depending on what time of the day you're watching this video, you're going to really reach forwards with the fingers, point the toes back. Nice parallel hips. 3, 2, 1, roll it back in. Knee under hip, hand under shoulder. One more time, opposite side. Use that breath. Find that balance and stability through your body. Nice and strong. 3, 2, 1, and roll it in. Okay. So keeping on your all four position for me now. So gaze back at the front of your mat. If your wrists are hurting, you can come up onto fists, or just make a little bit more of an arch through your hand, just like you do with your feet, like we have got in our feet. So not all that pressure's going into the wrists. So what you're going to do now is curl under your toes, underneath you. And we're going to see if we can lift our legs, our body off the ground, and hover the knees. You're going to hold that position for me. So use that breath. It's that 3, 2, 1, and gradually knees come back down. Keep those toes curled under because we're going again. In 3, 2, 1, lift. Lift that body, hover those knees, push through the hands, keep the shoulders strong, tuck in the front of the rib cage towards the back. Use your breath to keep you going. 3, 2, 1, and slowly release. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. You've got this, and then we'll go into a nice stretch. 3, 2, 1, you're going to lift. So again, thinking about nice strong knees that are hovered, keeping those toes nice and balanced, keeping the hands strong through to the shoulder blades, keeping your gaze at the front of your mat for your neck, thinking about a nice straight spine. 3, 2, 1, and release. Unravel those toes, slowly bring your tailbone back to your heels, stretch your arms overhead on the mat, circulate your wrists whilst you're here if you need to. In child's pose, if you keep your knees close together, you're going to get right through to the sacrum, the back of your pelvis and your lower back. If you open up the knees a bit wider, you're going to get into those thighs and hips a little bit more. So just use that breath to relax into that stretch for me. So the more we take deep breaths, the more we relax the muscles. Ten more seconds here. And then if you can slowly start walking your hands back towards your body. So you're sitting up for me. And then we're going to just swap round so we're nice and centred on our mat, sitting back on our heels. You can't sit back on your heels, we're coming straight up to kneeling now anyway, and we're going to see if we can get up from the floor without using our hands. You've got two options. You can either do one flat foot to standing, or for a little bit more of a challenge, you're going to curl under your toes, coming down to a crouching position, and then pushing through those toes, staying on tiptoes, and releasing your heels to the ground. And now we're up. Just to finish, you're going to stand up nice and tall, relax your shoulders back, take a nice big deep breath in. As you do so, you're going to lift off of your heels, reach up towards the ceiling with your arms. Breathe out, slowly, controlled on the way down. We're going to do 5 seconds up and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 down and out through the mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that one more time. So when you breathe in and up, feel the rib cage expand by the side of your body. Hold your breath at the top. Breathe out. Slowly deflate to the floor. And we are going to finish there. Well done, everyone.